Hello everyone and welcome to Bookmas Day 9. We have 3 days left of Bookmas before it's Christmas. Today's video is going to be the end of the year book tag. I got a bunch of questions from Larry Reed's most recent end of the year book tag, which I believe she got from Destiny Sidwell's end of the year book tag. So we'll have a little chain of book tags going on in the description box for you guys to watch. Let us dive right into these questions because we have quite a few to answer, and I'm gonna try not to blab on too much about all these books. The first question is my most disappointing book of the year. This is a very sad one because this is definitely one of my most anticipated high star reads for the year, and it just didn't hit, and that is The Breakup Tour by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Baroka. I wanted to love this so much, but for me I felt like the characters fell flat and the dual point of view really was just in their heads, and it was just really repetitive. Like I was seeing like this person was given a reasoning why, and then the other character was given a reasoning why, and it was very repetitive for me, and I didn't enjoy it. I really wish I did, because first of all, the cover, stunning, and like the whole synopsis and like the aspect of the story sounded so appealing to me, and it reminded me of another like YA book I really enjoyed, but this was be like an adult version of it, and it didn't hit for me, and I'm so sad. Sadly, that's my most disappointing read of the year. Next question is, what was an underdog book? And this one has to be one of my most recent reads, and it is A Certain Appeal by Vanessa King. This book, I think I picked this up randomly at an Indigo one day on their like $6 table, and I love the movie Burlesque so much. One of my top 5 movies. So when I read on the back that this involved a burlesque dancer, this immediately went in my shopping cart. This book was so good. It was a little bit of a slow burn. I loved the characters so much. I wish we actually got more from the characters. That's why I didn't get the full 5. But this book, it's been sitting on my book for who knows how long. And I had my mother come in and just randomly pick a book for me to read, and she grabbed this one. And I would not have picked this up if it wasn't for her like grabbing it. I loved this book, and I feel like this book is not talked about at all. I haven't seen anyone bring it up. And sadly, Vanessa King, this is their only book. Next is a book that surprised me. The book that surprised me the most this year, I had thrifted and didn't know it was a full series. It was just one of those ones where I liked the cover and I just thrifted it. But I did not know how much I was actually gonna like love this series, or even love the first book enough to get the rest of the series, and that is Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. This was such a creative concept. Well, sort of. We have the whole like competition thing, but it all revolves around cards. There's 2 different there's like different lords in this little town, and a lot can happen, and people have powers, and it's just this whole, like, there's a high stakes, people had to save each other. It was so good, and this, we got literally at the most from this relationship between them was like, I think a kiss or holding hands. Like, this is gonna be such a good slow burn, and I can't wait for in the new year to get to book 2 and 3. So Ace of Shades is the book that surprised me the most this year. Next is my favorite book couples of the year. I have 3. And I'm going to show you the book so you guys can like know what book they're a part of. My top 3. My most favorite book couples of the year are Damon and Winter, Russ and Aurora, and Drayton and Dallas. We've got like super egotistical man and the most gentle, like quiet girl. Russ and Aurora are basically like popular girl, quiet guy. Drayton is another egotistical character while Dallas, she'll step on a fly. Like if she'll serve what he's serving back to her. As you can see, I clearly have a type of love for these couples. They all have something similar in common. Next up, we have my favorite main characters. I've got 4 for you because I couldn't choose. Zaid Meadows from Haunting Adeline, Scarlett Dragna from Caraval, Christian Harper from Twisted Lies, and Damon Torrance from Kill Switch. Guys, these characters, I don't know what it is, but they so good at what they do. I'm trying not to let this get repetitive, but it's gonna be for just a minute. Next, we're gonna talk about my new fave authors of the year, and that is gonna be H.D. Carlton and Penelope Douglas. This whole series, the whole Devil's Night series, I read Punk 57, and I also have 5 Brothers to read. So 2025 will hold more books by Penelope Douglas. And H.D. Carlton, I read The Cat and Mouse Duet, I read Where's Molly, and I read Satan's Affair. So I got a bit more of H.D. Carlton's backlog to continue reading through in 2025. These authors know how to write a dark romance. Oh, next up, we have an author that didn't work out for me this year. This is a book I DNF'd this year. I made it like about 130 pages into this book before DNFing it, and it is the author Sophie Kinsella. This author is popular for their Confessions of a Shopaholic series. I picked up this book, Love Your Life, and the writing was not it for me. The characters were love bombing within the first 50 pages of the book, and this is a pretty big book. Like, this is 416 pages, so if they're already saying I love you to each other within the first 50 pages, I don't know what's gonna happen in like the rest of it. I am a little worried to pick up any more books by this author at the moment because I didn't really like the writing style, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about it in other books. So if you have any recommendations for books that you enjoyed by this author, let me know down below. I do have the Confessions of the Shopaholics like first book, and I also have a Shopaholics Christmas or something. Next question is, what is the happiest book you read this year? I can't remember if this book has any like trigger warning topics, because then it wouldn't be the happiest book. But this is the book that probably brought me the most like giddy happiness, and it is Open Road Summer by Emery Lord. This is a perfect summer read if you're looking for one. I read this back in high school, loved it, thought I'd give it a reread this year, and absolutely loved it again. I don't know what it is about it. It's just it was such a quick and easy read, and it's like a chunkier book. Like, it's 342 pages. It's a pretty big book, but it was so good. It was so good. So if you get the opportunity to read this, please do. Emery Lord writes good books. I've read one other by her and really like enjoyed it. So I'm excited to get to a few of her other books later this year. Next is the saddest books I've read this year. So there's going to be an obvious book. Like, yeah, that would make me cry too. And there's one that is kind of unexpected. Let's start with the obvious one. We've got It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I read this book earlier this year, right before the movie came out, so that I knew what was going on, and I cried while reading this, and then I bawled my eyes out at the movie theater with my boyfriend. The topics in this book, it's a very trigger warning topic, so please check it out before indulging in this book, but it really helped me process some of the stuff I was pushing away, so that's also why it made me cry. And another one is Anne on the Apocalypse by Catherine Turner with Barry Waldo. This is a movie. Tell me how a Christmas horror book made me cry like 4 times. It is a pretty sad story once you like attach yourself to these characters. So this is the most frustrating book I read this year. This is The Girl on the Train. This book, I could not tell you how frustrated I was because I wanted to know the plot twist, but it dragged on so long to the point that I wanted to chuck the book because I just couldn't anymore. It was so frustrating because I predicted pretty much everything that happened. I don't know if any of you experienced that as well, but it was not a fan favorite for me. Next, we have my favorite covers of the year, and I have just one to share that I read this year, and we're going to choose Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. This is just the black with the bright pink, and just, oh, it's beautiful. It has the birds and the skulls and the blackbirds and the weapons, and it looks so pretty. I love this color palette too. Beautiful symmetry. Next is a book you haven't stopped thinking about. This is gonna be a repeat. I'm so sorry, but I quite literally have not stopped thinking about this book since I read it. There's not a single day that goes by that I don't think about this story or these characters. That is Kill Switch by Penelope Douglas. I cannot. Guys, I listen to songs in the car on my way to work and I think of them. I literally can't live my life without thinking of these fictional characters. So next is an unpopular book that you loved. We're going to do one repeat and one new one. I know there's a few people. I know that it's like a 50-50 with these books. Either people loved it or people DNF'd it, or they talked poorly about it. So the first one's going to be Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I know from the people I watch and see, no one could get through Icebreaker, and nobody has enjoyed Wildfire either, or enjoyed Wildfire just a little bit more than Icebreaker. Y'all, both those books are 5 stars for me. Tell me why I'm sitting here kicking my toes reading these. Like, this one was so good. I don't know if you can see all my tabs, but like, yeah, I loved this book so much, and it hurts me anytime I see someone talk so bad about it. And the next one is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I think a lot of people, for some reason I seem to think that a lot of people didn't enjoy this, and I don't know why. I think this was my first indulgence into, like, I think it's called the metaverse or something like that, and I ate it up in one day. Like, I read this in one sitting. I want to reread this. I'm reading quotes from this and it's so good. I also tabbed this one like crazy. I didn't know I tabbed this one actually, but I love those books so much. Next is a book I thought I'd love, but I didn't. This is one I read on my Kindle. This is Toxic. I saw a blurb on TikTok about this book and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stop what I'm reading right now and go read this because it sounds so good. I'm gonna love this story because it has like a prisoner and like a doctor, or like a doctor that works at the prison. I'm like, okay. That was the most rushed book I ever read. Next is a book with the most unique concept you read, and I'm gonna have to go with Tender Beasts by Lizelle Sambury. I talked about this book a lot and gave like a whole synopsis of it in my 5-star reads, so you should definitely go check that out. But essentially, this family loses their mother. Their mother passes away, and the mother like groomed most of them to take on different roles in the house and prepared Sunny to take over her role as like the caregiver of the house. But when it comes time to it, all that was left for Sunny was a note saying to take care of her littlest brother, who everyone shunned, and her brother is currently being charged for the murder of his girlfriend. And then Sunny attempts to like make bonds with him, but then finds him standing over a dead body at the school that their parents own. So there's a lot more to this, lots of twists and turns. I highly recommend you just going into it with like little to no knowledge. I'm definitely gonna reread this in the future. Funny enough, the next question is a book you read this year that you would reread. If I'm gonna reread any books in the near future, it's probably gonna be these ones because I want to annotate them. Technically I'd want to reread the whole Devil's Night series to annotate it, but these books in specific, so I'm just gonna like, okay. And Nightfall, which is Will Grayson the third story. I loved Kai's story. Like, Kai got like 5 stars for me, but this book, you know, this book might also be a 5-star honestly, because what I remember from it, Chef's Kiss, I just want to go back and annotate them all so badly. I want to be back. Take me back. a book you wish you got to this year. We're going to start off with this one because I was so excited for it. My boyfriend surprised me and pre-ordered it. Daydream by Hannah Grace. I am so upset at myself for not getting to this book, but it's going to be one I get to in the new year. I don't know why I didn't read it. You know what? I know why. Because in 2023, I read Icebreaker. In 2024, I read Wildfire. So in 2025, I'm going to read Daydream. And that means waiting for the next one shouldn't be too long because then I'll get to read in 2026. That means I've read one Hannah Grace book every year. Good thinking. And next was Legendary by Stephanie Garber. Because if I loved Carol Ball so much, I should have continued the series. So this is also going to be like one of the sooner reads that I do in 2025 because a girl needs to finish her series. Next question is our Goodreads goal reflection. So I'm going to do a little change up of this because I have a Goodreads, but I don't use it anymore because I found it I had to do so many things. Like, I had to search for the book, and then if I hit enter, then I have to go through a list and find the book, or I have to wait for it to pop up, and then I have to click it, and there's so many other buttons. So I switched to Storygraph because I found it a bit more easier to do, and I really liked looking at my analytics of it all. So let's just go through my Storygraph reflection. Let's reflect on it. For my reading goal this year, I set my goal to 15 books because the past 2 years I've set it to 25, and I've only been able to read 21, 22. So I set it to 15. I am at currently, when I'm recording this, 57 books this year. My goal is now to get to 60. So we're gonna hopefully reach that. That's only 3 books and I'm halfway through one now. I've read 20,408 pages. My average time to finish a book is, well, it used to say 4 days, now it says 5 days. And my moods are mainly emotional, dark, tense, mysterious, and lighthearted. 20 of the books I read this year were under 300 pages. 28 of them were between 300 and 500. And then I have read 9 500 plus books, which is crazy because I could have never done this last year. Picking up big books was not something I did. And my genres, my top 4 were romance, contemporary, young adult, and thriller. My biggest reading months were June, July, and October, all tied with 7 books. And my average rating is a 3.99. So a 4-star. This year I've had 9 5-star books. I've had 5 4.75. I've had 6 4.5, 18 4 stars, 6 3.75, 4 3.5, 5 3 stars, and then 4 2 stars. The next question is, what will I prioritize in the 2025 reading year? That is a great question because there's a lot I could do. We are definitely going to prioritize reading our TBR. I am definitely 100% after Christmas hitting 1,000 books in my library, and at one point I did buy all these books and I wanted to read every single one of them when I bought them, but I'm not sure if that's still something I want to do. So I'm going to use this year to go through my books and read or get rid of books because I don't have much room, and I'll have my goal of hitting 1,000 and I'll hit that goal and seeing if I really want them on my shelves, and if I do not enjoy it, I will get rid of it because I should be keeping books that I love, that I want to reread, or that bring me joy. I should have a library of books that I enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to give me a like, and don't forget to subscribe down below. And you know what? Anyone who wants to do the end of the year book tag, do it. This is your tag. I'm tagging all of you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. And I'll see you for next day of Bookmas. Okay, see you guys later. Bye!